Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the August edition of Merlin One's Chat with Our Expert series. Today, we're going to talk about how to make metadata easy to manage in Merlin. So, metadata made easy. I am recording this session, so you can access it later if you like. As always, we want to make this webinar short and sweet. It'll be about 30 minutes long, maybe less. I am recording it. Please ask your questions in the chat window, and also your questions do not need to be related to today's topic. Would someone please confirm for me that you're seeing my screen and that you're hearing me okay in the chat window, just so I make sure I'm not talking to myself? Thank you. That's great. Perfect. Thanks, everybody. It would be a shame. I've done that before. We went on for minutes and minutes and minutes and found out that I was talking to myself or not sharing my screen out. So thanks for that. So we're going to talk about some metadata related features in Merlin. Some of these things we've talked about before, but we're going to kind of wrap it all up into one presentation today. And these are the things that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Merlin's keyword functionality. We're going to talk about how you can require data entry at the time of upload. We're going to talk about the different types of fields you have in Merlin and how you can manage data there. So that would include free text fields, logical fields, date fields, and pick lists. And I know we talked about using artificial intelligence last month, and there's a whole presentation about that, but that's also related to metadata. So I thought I would include that in here as a reminder for people that might not have seen that presentation, and this is a chance to go back and review that one as well. We will touch on it briefly this week. So the first thing we're going to talk about is keyword functionality and how a privileged user can manage the keyword list and how users have to be able to select from the list. So this is what we're going to talk about with keywords, and I'm going to show you all of these things. Okay, but I just kind of wanted to go over each one of these items first. So as the manager of keywords, you can control what keywords your users have access to. So this is kind of a really nice feature. We're going to talk about how at the time of upload, using the upload form, that you can require data entry. So you can have mandatory fields, and different types of users might have different mandatory fields. So you might expect your lower level inexperienced users to only fill out one or two fields, but you might expect higher level users or might expect of yourself to fill out more fields, and we're going to walk through all of that. But I just wanted to kind of put this out in the PowerPoint first. There are different types of fields. We've talked about that already a little bit. There are text fields. In a text field, you can pretty much type whatever you want. Some text fields have limited numbers of characters you can put into it. It might be 32 characters. It might be 64 characters. It might be 128 characters. There are some character fields like the description or caption field that has unlimited number of characters in it. So pretty much you can put in there as much text as you want. And Merlin also includes, by default, a user-defined text field as well, in addition to the caption field that can be used in a similar manner. There are date fields, and of course, with the date fields, you get a date picker to help you enter dates in the correct format. You have logical fields. Those are fields that would be answered true or false, or checked or unchecked, or yes or no. And so we've got those fields. And you can also set it so that users must select from a list when they're picking from some of these fields with pick lists. So let's talk a little bit about pick lists. I know we've had a presentation about that in the past before as well. Pick lists may be mandatory, or they can just be suggestions. They can be single value or multi-value. So you can have a single value in a list, or you can have more than one value. And we'll talk about that as well. I'm going to show it to you. And again, different types of users might see totally different lists. Okay, so as if I work in one department, I might see a list that's appropriate for my department. If I work for another department, I might have different lists, and I might have lists that are common to all departments. For example, a country field, because all the countries of the world would probably be a similar list for everybody. We're going to talk about templates and how you can use templates to help speed with your metadata entry. And templates can be used in the upload form, they can be used in the edit multiple or batch edit area, and you can actually use a rubber stamp to copy metadata from any item in Merlin and rubber stamp that metadata into the edit multiple form and then turn that into a template. And I'm going to show you how that works as well. And then we're going to basically just touch on auto tagging again. This is a great new optional functionality for Merlin that allows Merlin to automatically add keywords or landmarks or things like that to content automatically as part of the import process. And Merlin can even be configured to go back tag content. So it's not just content moving forward. You could tell Merlin, hey, I need you to go back tag content, and you can even qualify what that content is. So that's my little presentation. I just wanted to lay out what we're going to talk about in a very logical fashion in my screen presentation. And so we're going to quit the, actually it's a keynote presentation, and we're going to talk about each of these things that we covered in the slides live in my demo Merlin server. Okay, so let's first talk about keywords. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually use my web upload form to illustrate all the concepts, or at least most of the concepts we talked about in my slide, because they all come together in one place here, or at least most of them do. So we talked about different types of fields, and so you can see at the very, very top, I have a description field where I can type whatever I want. Okay, I have a logical field, which is true or false, or a checkbox field, or yes or no. So has the consent been given, yes or no? So it's on or off, so I can check this field. I've got a date field, and Merlin has a number of date fields. It has an input date. That's the date something was added into Merlin. It has a create date. It picks that up from the original file itself. It also can have other date fields associated with it as well. There are several user-defined date fields, and that's what I'm showing here in the case of my performance date field. It's one of my user-defined date fields, and I've labeled it as performance date. And as a date field, I have a calendar picker that I can use to plug the date in. So it's really easy to use my calendar picker so I don't have to start typing the date in. So that's great to be able to do. I can also have a pull-down list of values. So this is a single value pick list, okay? I can pick something from this list, or I can leave it blank in this case because it's not mandatory, okay? So I can say, yes, I'd like to mark this as internal use, editorial use only. Okay, so everything I upload with this metadata set will be tagged internal use only in the rights usage terms field. This next field is a mandatory field. If I try and upload content without putting something in this field, it's going to give me a growl or a warning in the upper right hand corner and ask me to complete the field. In the meantime, I'll just go ahead and type this in. This is a multi-value pick list, and it works as a type ahead. So as I start to type, I'm just going to type the letter M, and it's going to auto-complete with all of the values that start with the letter M. And so I'm going to choose marketing, and I'm going to tab, and now marketing is now selected. And I'm going to add the letter S, and it's allowing me to pick the sales from the list as well. And I'm going to tab, but I can type something else as well, if it allows me to do that, if it's been configured to do that. And see, I'm getting a growl saying, ooh, something else is not in my list. So this is an enforced list. I have to pick something from the list. Now, keywords is the same way, but keywords is special. So if I type in test, okay, here's my test keyword, and then I'm going to add another keyword, only this case I'm going to type in gobbledygook. And it's going, ooh, your gobbledygook is not in the keyword list. Would you like to add it to the list? If I have permission, I can add that gobbledygook keyword to my keyword list. So this is a great way for someone with permission to actually add keywords without having to go to the keyword admin screen to do that. So you can see how easy it is to add keywords. So keywords are a type of pick list, but they're special because they give you the ability to edit metadata or add keywords to the keyword list at the time of data entry. So it's special. And country, again, it's a single value pick list, but it's a type ahead. And in this case, because there are more than 50 values in this list, because of course there are more than 50 countries in the world, it forces me to be a type ahead list rather than a pull down list like this, because a pull down list with a couple of hundred entries in it starts to be pretty unwieldy. And so we use a type ahead for that type of list. And so you can see how easy it is to fill out the different types of fields that I have in my web upload form. And again, keep in mind, different classes of users could have a different set of fields in their web upload form. So again, inexperienced users might have 5 or 6 fields to complete, with 2 or 3 of them mandatory, and more experienced users might have additional fields or additional mandatory fields. So that's a great thing that you can do. Now I'm going to clear this by clicking my clear button, and I want to talk a little bit about templates. Okay. So templates allow you to streamline data entry. Maybe for most of your pictures, the country is always the United States. And maybe you only work with 1 or 2 photographers. So you might have the photographer's name as part of your metadata list here. And so I'm going to add my creator or byline field to this list as well. And so from my templates, you can fill out this form and save a template. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually load a pre-existing template called my chat template. I created it for today. I'm going to click load. And look, it pre-populated this with a date. It pre-populated it with approved for external use. It pre-populated it with the marketing group, a keyword test, the United States of America. And so it pre-populated all of that at the time of upload. So you can have as many templates as you like. It's great to be able to have them and to be able to take care of them, okay, and take advantage of them. So how can you create your templates? Well, you could pre-populate it just by filling this out, but let me show you another great tool in Merlin. So I'm going to open my sidebar on the left-hand side and show my metadata palette, okay, and I'm only showing some of my fields here, but notice at the bottom toolbar of the palette, I've got a button that says copy metadata. This is my rubber stamp tool. It basically allows me to copy all of the metadata from here, and say it tells me that it's been copied in the upper right hand corner, and then it allows me to use that same metadata in either the upload form, so I can paste it in there, and you can see it just pasted in all of that metadata. Okay, I'm going to clear that. Or I can paste it in using my edit multiple function as well. Okay, so I can go to edit multiple, and again I can say I'd like to paste it in, and it's going to pre-fill out all of the information that's in here, and including the city, country, and state. And again, I can rearrange these if I'd like them in a different order, or I can take advantage of pre-existing templates. And you can see I've got a template here called one-time use. And so if I add that, it's going to modify just the one-time use field or the rights usage terms field with the value one-time use. And so you can see how easy it is to take advantage of templates to fill out metadata. Now, before I go, there are 2 other things I want to talk about. I wanted to mention auto keywords again. And you can see that auto keywords is right here in my auto tags and the colors as well. So when you upload content to Merlin, Merlin sends a thumbnail of the picture off to Google Cloud Vision, and then in return, Google Cloud Vision returns keywords. And so you can see I've got sky, airplane, aircraft, air travel, aviation as my keywords. And you can see it's applied some colors back here as well, bright orange, gray. This all becomes searchable, okay? So that's a really cool thing to be able to take advantage of, okay? Sky, air, sports, cloud, parachuting, okay? And this one airplane, propeller-driven aircraft, black, light gray, gray are the colors. Merlin will even identify landmarks, so if it knows where a picture was made, it will add that in as well. So that's a really cool thing to do with the auto tagging. And then one other thing I'd like to mention before I go is, again, as part of Metadata Made Easy, if you do make a mistake, you can go in and take advantage of Merlin's find and replace function. And you can say, I'd like to search across all of the fields for the selected items. In this case, I just have one item selected. Or you could say, I'm only interested in changing a particular field, like the creator or byline field, and I'd like to find Breslau and replace it with something else. Okay, and I'm not actually going to do it, but you could actually go through hundreds of items and fix metadata that was mistakenly entered and fix that as part of the input process. Now, I know I kind of talked all through this and I wasn't watching my questions. Let me see if we have any questions. I don't see any questions, so I guess this is a good time for me to pause and see if anybody has any questions about making metadata easier to manage in Merlin. If you do, please type them into the chat window, and I'll give everybody a moment or two to see if you've got anything for me. Okay, Stephanie, I have a hello from you. Do you have a question for me? All right, then. Well, we'll call it a wrap. If you do have a question, if you wake up in the middle of the night with that burning damn question, please feel free to send it my way or contact one of my colleagues in customer service, or my colleague Randy Simpson will be happy to get the answer for you. We love hearing your suggestions. We love being able to answer your questions, so please let us know. Thanks, everybody. Happy Wednesday, and I look forward to talking to you next month. Next month is going to be really interesting. We're going to talk about how to use the Merlin workflow engine in multi-channel distribution. So it'll be really interesting to show you all the cool things we can do when you need to send content from Merlin to multiple locations in perhaps different formats, different sizes, or with different kinds of watermarks, those types of things. So we're going to talk about that next month. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day, and I look forward to talking to you soon.